Hello friends, and welcome back to Diablo Golden Ticket. Last time we put a spotlight on our sorcerer Jazreth, so it seems only fair that our other supporting player Moreina get a chance to have her story told. We're going to follow her through level 7 of the Diablo dungeon and the quest Halls of the Blind. While she turns hellhounds and gargoyles into pincushions, I'm going to tell you all about the Sisterhood of the Sightless Eye and what little we know about Moreina's history with them. As usual, I'm going to use the scraps of official canon to generate some plausible headcanon about her personality and her relationship to the two men she's been crawling around the catacombs with. Are you ready? Here we go. There's our girl. Here is what we know about Moreina from canon. She's described as brave and also as shadowy. The shadowy bit may be more in reference to the cowl she liked to wear than her personality, but let's run with it and say that she's a bit mysterious, a bit of a cipher to most people. She's not brooding in the way that Aiden is, nor is she as haughty as Jazreth. I picture her being quite gregarious and easy to talk to. But that's the thing, she's easy to talk to. She listens a lot and gets information. But no one ever learns much about her. We're going to try, though, because that's how I roll. We know from canon sources that in Moreina's youth she was close friends with a girl named Kashya, and that Kashya was raised by Akara, who at this point is the high priestess or spiritual leader of the Sisters of the Sightless Eye. From there we can easily piece together how Moreina became involved with the sisters. Kashya was a shoo-in, of course, being raised by the high priestess, though Kashya took on more of a combat role, and we can see that her friend Moreina did as well. We've found a spellbook here, by the way, Inferno, and I'm going to go ahead and learn this spell rather than sell the book since I'm not hurting for money. Rogue is meant to be a hybrid class, and while Inferno isn't one of the most recommended spells, it's not a bad thing to have if I'm, for example, standing in a doorway and have a few guys lined up in my face. It does a small amount of damage over time to a few squares in front of me. Another nice thing about Inferno is that its damage amount goes up with character level, not spell level. So I can basically get it at level 1 and forget about it. Okay, since Akara is High Priestess of the Sisterhood, we can assume she probably raised Kashya very near Eastgate Keep, the monastery where the Sisterhood is based. Just to the east of the monastery is a very harsh desert, so Kashya probably grew up either in Eastgate Keep itself or in eastern Honduras, just to the west of the monastery. And if Moreina and Kashya were childhood friends, Moreina must have grown up in that area as well. There is not a lot going on there, so a girl like Moreina must have been bored out of her skull. Many women joined the Sisterhood because they were fleeing trauma, but it stands to reason that Moreina likely joined simply because her best friend was involved and it seemed exciting. Kashya probably gave Moreina a demanding example to follow because Kashya rose to become the sisters' field captain, the head of their entire martial branch, just as her adoptive mother Akara heads the spiritual side of things. I imagine Kashya is the one who sent Moreina into Tristram to investigate. Given the circumstances, I think this was probably a gesture of trust rather than just trying to get rid of her. A trapped chest. Let's not forget that rogues can disarm those. You can save yourself a few darts or fireballs to the face. And it's just right there under your spells. Always a good idea to clear that whole area first, though, so you don't get ambushed by a bunch of hellhounds. And now Moreina is level 15. How fast they grow up. I'm giving her a little magic now in addition to Dex, so if she happens to find any of those really useful spells, she can learn and use them. She's now high enough to use Mana Shield if I find it, and that will let her use her mana as a health pool. But she'll need 48 in magic to use Fireball, and she'll even need a few more than that if she wants to use Stone Curse or Chain Lightning. So let's talk about the Sisterhood of the Sightless Eye more generally. We know right now Akara is the High Priestess and Kashya is the Field Captain, but what about the whole history of this thing? What is the point of the Sisterhood other than to provide shelter to local battered women and orphaned girls and turn them into badass archers?
I have no room.
Ponder that question while we take a moment to deal with inventory.
Whoa, what can I do for you?
So Moreina has been carrying around a Bow of the Bearer for quite a while now. It only does 1 to 6 damage, but it knocks the target back, which was an amazing find so early in the game. It's going to be tough to convince me to trade it out for another bow, and I'll tell you why.
Whoa, what can I do for you?
Example. Here's an amazing bow down here, +9 to all stats, but even if I had the skill to equip it, even if it had double the DPS, even if I have the 33,000 gold for it, which, look, I've got 25,000 already stashed there on the Bank of Cain, and this new deposit brings me to 30,000. Anyway, it would still be a hard sell for me. Moreina's knockback means that she can pretty easily get in 2 or even 3 additional hits before a melee demon closes in. That means I'm multiplying the amount of damage she can do at range anywhere between 2 and 4 times. I would much rather take a little longer to kill a guy and not have to touch a healing potion than kill twice as fast at melee range while getting thumped. That's just my take. You may feel differently, of course. Did you notice that secluded shrine I just completely ignored? I happen to remember this one because it was the very first shrine we encountered in that very first video with Aiden, remember? It reveals the whole map for the level. And I actually don't want that. The missing bits in the map are the only way I know where there might be loot or XP that I haven't found yet. Okay, back to our question about the purpose of the Sisterhood. The roots of the Sisterhood lie in the Askari, a matriarchal society based in the Scovos Isles, in the seas to the south. This society was founded by twin sisters who used a mysterious artifact called the Sightless Eye to get glimpses of the future. One sister founded a line of great warriors known as the Amazons, and the other founded the Oracles, who were more focused on the mystical side of things. At some point, a group of Amazons rebelled against mainstream Askari culture. We have no details about why or what they disagreed on. We do know that they stole the Sightless Eye and ran off to Honduras, where they found an abandoned keep and set up shop there. Given that they not only stole the eye but named their sisterhood after it, they obviously value it highly. They seem to have had some very passionate opinions about how the other Askari were using or not using the eye. In any event, for whatever reason, these Amazon dissidents seem to have felt it necessary to take the eye far away from the other Askari, for whom it was the center of their culture, and honestly still is in a lot of ways, despite its absence. So, the sisters have a lot of influences from Askari culture, such as their matriarchal power structure, but they focus even more specifically on the bow than the Amazons do. And over the years, their culture has probably drifted a bit as well, taking on aspects of Condoran culture, and maybe some influences of the city of Lutgolain in the eastern desert. Yeah! I really love the sounds that these hellhounds make. Such drama queens. So we found the stairway down to level 8 here. And also, notice this sort of figure 8 shaped structure here? There's no way into it right now, but that's going to be the area for this level's quest, Halls of the Blind. So if you notice that shape in your level 7 map, that means since you've got that quest. Gargoyles are annoying because when they revert to their stone form, they regenerate really quickly. This is one of those cases where I'd probably be better off with a faster killing bow. Anyway, we know that the Sisterhood of the Sightless Eye is very concerned about giving women in bad situations a new start, and that their ranks are entirely female. Given all of that, the headcanon I've come up with is that the Sisterhood were an extremely misandric splinter group who weren't satisfied with women simply being in charge. They wanted to protect women from men entirely and keep the eye out of the hands of men. I don't think Moreina herself has that strong a hatred of men. She probably had a perfectly nice father and maybe even some brothers, and only joined the Sisterhood because of the opportunity for archery training and to have adventures with Kashya. She's probably absorbed a bit of their sense of female superiority though, and that may occasionally cause her to rub both Aiden and Jazreth the wrong way. She can probably smooth things over with her social skills though, and she may even end up occasionally serving as mediator when the two of them get heated about magic versus religion. That would have been an interesting spot to try Inferno if I had thought of it. Shooting wildly in the dark. An interesting note about the lore for the rogue class, they talk about their trap disabling ability as coming from a certain inner sight. It's not just cleverness, but a sort of mystical power that they're induced to develop that lets them sense traps and how to disarm them. This inner sight is also what allows them to be good archers even in poor lighting and jungles and so on. I have to assume that that's connected with the Sightless Eye somehow. I see a goat shrine in here. There's no way to know in advance what these do, and I'm going to have to kill a bunch of goatmen to get to it. A lot of goatmen. Okay, I know what this message means it did, and I think I'm going to keep it. The drawback to this particular shrine is that it takes a small percentage of my total mana away, but it's not like mana supply has been an issue. And it gives me 2 levels of charged bolt. Do you remember that from watching Jazreth? That's the one that fills a room with lightning. That seems like it could be potentially useful to have those bolts bouncing around while she continues to loose arrows in a very single target straight line. And her mana will continue to go up as we dump some magic points into her, which we've not done a lot of yet, so Since the loss is based on a percentage, better earlier than later. Just gonna make our way around the south side of this square room here. And look what we have here. A book. That's going to give us our level 7 quest, which you may or may not get on your particular playthrough. Anybody going to interrupt my reading here? No?
I can see what you see not. Vision milky, then eyes rot. When you turn, they will be gone, whispering their hidden song. Then you see what cannot be. Shadows move where light should be. Out of darkness, out of mind, cast down into the halls of the blind.
Yeah, that's not creepy at all. I don't think Moreina is a big reader, so while the Sisterhood probably taught her how, she's not right now immediately in the headspace of, oh, this book probably means something I should pay attention to. So she's like, a book, and, you know, carries on. Here we have an Enchanted Shrine, which is actually a pretty good one. Always save before you click a shrine, just in case. Those little guys can be hard to see when they're squatting down there in stone form. Magic is not always what it seems to be. As usual, the vague message only slightly applies to what just happened. And what these shrines do is take away one level from one of your spells and give a level to the rest. Basically, the math works out if you have 3 or more spells, and Moreina's got quite a few. Unfortunately, the level she lost was on her most potentially useful spell, which is Charged Bolt. All the same, I'm going to keep the results and just move on. I am going to fill out the rest of the level 7 map before I head back to that mysterious figure 8. Oh damn, that's one of the spells I was talking about before, Stone Curse. She needs 51 magic to use it, but she has it now. Definitely gotta hang on to that. Incidentally, Jazreth also found this spell at Adria's shop at around the same time in his own playthrough. He also got a really cool staff from her that has lightning resistance and casts Guardian. So in my headcanon, Moreina finds the book, has no idea what to do with it, sells it to Adria, Jazreth buys it off Adria, learns the spell, and then later on he's going to teach it to Moreina. Okay, here's where things are going to get hairy. Just by reading that book about the halls of the blind, you activate that 8-shaped area, and various hidden are waiting to ambush you, even outside it. Super fun for someone with no AoE. Just picture Moreina here, wild-eyed and bleeding, loosing arrows into thin air and hoping desperately she'll hit something before it hits her. For an archer, vision is so important, so the idea of losing her sight or facing invisible creatures is probably her worst nightmare. She immediately zips back to town for guidance. Unlike brooding loner Aiden, Moreina is more than willing to turn to other people for help. First, of course, we need to make a deposit at the Bank of Cain, because we're not carrying that book around the whole time. We wait for her to get 51 points in magic. The rest of this junk, we can just sell.
Well, what can I do for you?
So much gold. In my headcanon, this is also when she sells that book to Adria, along with some scrolls she found. And while we're there, maybe the creepy witch lady will have some useful info about the Halls of the Blind. What do you think?
I sense a soul in search of answers.
Don't need that. Don't need that. I don't honestly need any mana potions. Like I say, we just haven't been using it. That's another sign it's no big deal I lopped off a small percentage of my mana. Oops, I was gonna ask her about the Halls of the Blind.
I sense a soul in search of answers. This is a place of great anguish and terror, and so serves its master well. Tread carefully, or you may yourself be staying much longer than you had anticipated.
Oh yeah, I forgot how helpful she always is. Basically, she's your average Twitter doomsayer with absolutely no useful or actionable information. We should stay a while and listen to Cain, who is sometimes the only person with any remotely useful information or lore. But first we gotta stop by and treat ourselves to some classic snark from Wirt. Man, ever since someone told me his voice actor is the same as Adria's, I have not been able to unhear it.
Psst, over here! Let's see, am I selling you something? No. Are you giving me money to tell you about this? No. Are you now leaving and going to talk to the storyteller who lives for this kind of thing? Yes.
Yes. Yes, we are. Don't suppose you have a bow to sell me, though? Nope. Maybe a healer would know something about sight-related afflictions?
What ails you, my friend?
Let's take care of a bit of business first, and then we'll see what he has to say.
This does seem familiar somehow. I seem to recall reading something very much like that poem while researching the history of demonic afflictions. It spoke of a place of great evil that... Wait, you're not going there, are you?
Yes. Yes, we are.
Hello, my friend. Stay a while and listen. You recite an interesting rhyme written in a style that reminds me of other works. Let me think now. What was it? Darkness shrouds the hidden, eyes glowing unseen, with only the sounds of razor claws briefly scraping to torment those poor souls who have been made sightless for all eternity. The prison for those so damned is named the Halls of the Blind.
Okay, well, at least Cain has given us some context to the horrible nightmare Moreina is about to subject herself to. Cool, cool. Once again, this would have been a great place to cast Inferno if I'd remembered I had it. Moreina is at peak paranoia right now, just loosing arrows every which way, probably just rivers of cold sweat pouring down. All her confidence is based on her ability to get the drop on people, see them, and fill them full of arrows before they get anywhere near her. Let's return for a moment to the Sightless Eye, the artifact her sisterhood stole and carried away, and the beating heart of a culture obsessed with vision. Visions of the future on the spiritual side, and the keen eye of an archer or a javelin thrower on the martial side. Why is this artifact called the Sightless Eye? No one alive now remembers. But I know. Would you like to know? That object was once an open channel to heaven. It was held and used at the dawn of time by the lover of an angel, an ancestor of what would become the human race. But Sanctuary needed to be kept hidden from the war between heaven and hell, and so that channel was closed. The eye was made sightless. The name itself remembers that loss, but the people who use the name and revere the object's remaining powers don't know anything about it. They themselves are oblivious to the object's true significance, fighting over it with no awareness of its true nature, while they ironically build their culture around awareness and sight. I hope you're sensing the kind of running theme to this whole episode here. So at the end of this quest, we find the reward, the Optic Amulet. Just gotta make absolutely sure this room is empty first. Are we done? Okay. As the name suggests, the Optic Amulet helps you see better, increasing your light radius, and also it gives you lightning resistance, which is so important. A tiny bit of damage protection adds 5 magic points, which, as we know, our girl here needs. Once you pick up the amulet, the quest is considered closed, but of course you'll want to kill every last one of these hidden bastards before you go. The nice thing for Moreina about getting this quest is that up to this point she hadn't found a single amulet, so this is a nice little addition to her gear. Thanks so much for coming along with her on her perilous little adventure. Next time we're going to turn our focus back to our main character Aiden, now that we've gotten to know his 2 supporting characters a little bit better. We're also going to take a look at what can potentially be the most maddening quest in this entire game, which is located on level 8, the final level of Tristram's Catacombs. See you then!